So speaking of the wife, how did that happen? Like, was it one of your extroverted situations where you just happen to talk then or play soccer? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, we were both under a coconut tree.
Nice, let's go. So, now that we've talked about you landing yourself there and finding yourself in a comfortable spot, the biggest question that I think a lot of us will know is, how does finances work? Right? Do you port over whatever you have now as like your, like this is my savings budgeted account? Do I just bring things over? How do I deal with finances there?
Finances wise, I think in the initial part where I wasn't full time there, right, it's more like a consultant kind of basis. So I was still paid in Singapore, right, and of course I make sure that I don't become a tax resident there based on the number of days as well. That's why I come back often as well. Yeah. So that was the initial part, right? But of course, when you go to a new country, a few things you need to look at in terms of finances is, of course, the taxation aspect. But in Singapore, we do have quite a low tax kind of regime, right? But in India, it's not, right? It's global tax, so you can be taxed up to I think 33%, right? So it's not CPF, it's just tax, and then there's nothing, right? So I always joke with my partners and clients, say I pay 33%, but where's the money? Because every time when the monsoon comes, right, and then the potholes start to appear again, So I mean, we always joke like the infrastructure, the roads is always have something, the potholes, and so there are small things like we don't. Like here, you probably won't see a lot of such things, but in India, not whole of India, of course, but in many places also, potholes are there, and the locals and they are frustrated as well. Of course, every time the rain comes, and you start to see the holes all appear. And when you ride, it's very dangerous, especially those people who ride bike. When it's like you cannot see one.
Yeah.
Only when you go, then you realize that. Yeah.
I'm assuming you have like insurance and coverage in Singapore. Then does it like how to say, like just translate?
So the initial part where I wasn't full time, so it was more like a travel insurance kind of a coverage. Right, that's one.
Okay,
yeah,
yes, makes sense.
Yeah. So once I became perm and all that, of course, then I need to get the local insurance, right? And then and of course, then there's no CPF there, so I just converted all my salary into the rupees, and based on the exchange rate there, and I became a tax resident. You just got to pay the income tax there. Right. So that's one part. I think for houses, all that, not difficult for you to find a place to rent. Okay. And usually they like expats because they find that we take care of the house well. Especially they know that you're from Singapore. That they give you the priority. Sometimes they might even lower the rent as compared to others because they know that you take care of the house well. Yeah, which is very important for them, because there'll be stories where there's nightmare of the tenant refusing to leave the place, and create a lot of problems and things like that. So they want a good tenant. So as expat, it's not difficult for you to rent a good place. But having said that, I got a story to share also.
Yes, let's go.
Right. so the funny thing is, because once okay, you all probably were gonna ask you how I met my wife. So I met my wife in Mumbai or that. So before that, I was staying in the suburb. So pre-COVID, just before the COVID period, I decided, hey, since I'm going to be here for long, right? I want to live in downtown. So I went to rent a place at downtown. So we actually found a place. I wanted to stay like near the beach. And then I found a place that is next to Shah Rukh Khan.
Okay.
He's her superstar.
Yep.
Right? And my wife said it's not a good idea. You know why? Every day there'll be people there. Every day there's traffic jam.
That's true.
His birthday, you don't know how many people down there. You say, And I say, oh yeah, that's true. Then in the end, it's a good thing I didn't get, because then you'll be very inconvenient to leave the house and all of that. Yeah. So that was also thinking, what if I actually stayed there, in a nice house that's facing the sea? It didn't happen. But okay, we stayed in another place, quieter and all that. It also was very nice. Yeah. But once I shifted there, right, after that it's COVID. So I spent the COVID years mostly at home. So we will both always laugh about it. I say, we make all the effort to move to downtown. In the end, we stay at home.
No, but then the gamble to live next to a celebrity would be great, because then COVID, nobody's going to harass you. Right? You think about it, your big brain play was very 5-8. That was the correct plan.
Yeah, but the house was gone very fast. But by the time we want to think about it until it's gone already. So someone else, but we actually like the house, because it's quite spacious and all of that. Yeah, but it's quite nice.
So speaking of the wife. How did that happen? Like, was it one of your extroverted situations where you just happen to talk then or play soccer? How did that happen? Because that's a very major life decision for somebody to make, especially when you are, I would say, out of the comfort zone per se.
Yeah, I mean, we were both under a coconut tree.
Nice, let's go. The Bollywood dream.
Yeah.
No lah. So, I mean, firstly, I didn't expect to meet anybody there.
Right.
I wasn't actively going out to date or things like that because
Correct.
I was traveling a lot, right? So when it was clear that I'm going to be there permanently, I thought, okay, why don't I start to date and meet people, right? So then I downloaded an app.
Ah,
So it's a dating
okay.
app. Then that's how I got to know her on the dating app.
Ah.
And then just talk, and
Interesting.
found some common interests and just develop from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How do you like bridge like the cultural differences between like the two of you?
I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, like the stars align in the way that, I mean, for Indian girl to marry a non-Indian actually is not so straightforward, like in the way, because the culture is quite different, and usually the family will not be so open and accepting lah. So it happens that her family is open and accepting of me, which was very lucky of me, right? And she is, I would say, not she's different lah. She's different in the way that because her family actually, I mean, in India, there are many of them who are vegetarians,
Right.
right. So back in our office, you would think that many of them drink, but actually they don't.
Yep.
Right. So the minority of us, few of us, I like to drink. So a few of us drink in the office only. Right. Most of them they don't drink, and most of them are vegetarians.
Yep.
So if you are vegetarian in India, actually, it's very easy for you to find food because
Right.
everything, everywhere you go, almost everywhere, right, there's always a vegetarian one. So you want this version, they have a vegetarian version for you as well. So you always have many choices. So coming back to my wife's side is that the family is vegetarian also, right? But she's quite open to like try new food and all that. So I mean, I know many Indian friends who are not open to want to try food because for them it's quite different, right? But she's quite open and she wants to try new things lah. So from there, then we try new things together, and it happened that all things fall into place, right? Her family is open and all that, right? There's also an interesting story about, because her family, in India there's a caste system, right? Yeah, and kind of still prevalent, and I kind of feel that sometimes it actually works well because I think a lot of the marriages still is matchmaking kind, right? Which is not a bad thing because you actually kind of do a due diligence on both sides.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
if they do due diligence, it's okay.
Correct. Because they want to make sure that both sides, match in many different ways, whether it's religion, culture, background, all of that, right? So it's common in that way, right? So in a way that for us also it didn't happen like that. So and it was okay, for her family as well. And I mean, I was very lucky to get into her family and her grandparents. Everybody were very accepting, and it's fine. And actually, I was supposed to share something. This story is that because they belong to the Brahmin caste,
Right.
So I didn't realize what it actually means.
Okay.
Until I was in New Zealand. I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
Right. So my wife, she wasn't with me then lah. And then I met this Indian guy also in the supermarket.
Right.
So we just talk lah. And then I said, "Oh, actually, I was living in India." And then so he asked me also. I married. My wife is Indian. So he asked me about my wife's last name. So of course, then I told him. So somehow I still don't know like what last name means to what caste. But it was important that this guy actually he realized that it's like for them is maybe just to him and his family is like, oh, it's a good fortune that I'm able to meet a person like you whose wife is under this caste, the Brahmin caste. So he went to get me like chocolates and gifts, just because of that. It's a stranger, and then he gave it to me. So I was like, why did he give it to me? So then of course. Then my wife later she explained like, it's respectful. They think it's good that they meet you, and then through me, then they give as a gift lah. Then from there, is it's a good thing that they actually do that. So I actually think, he paid already or not? This fella paid. He give me that. I go out. Of course, he paid already, like,
Yeah
give me
lah,
lah, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But then I realized, wow, you say, wow, okay, that's interesting. All the way in New Zealand, and he's studying there, you know, and then we talk. Then after actually, then I had a video call that he actually talked to my wife also. You know, then from there, then she explained like why he did this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a very interesting system, and that like at first, okay lah, all the negative connotations aside,
Yeah.
right? When I was very young, when I first learned about it, it's a very interesting concept to me because in Singapore, right, you anyhow throw a stone, it's 1 ton, 1 limb. There's no level to it, right? But to them, there are like some respectful houses with good lineages that from my understanding, they believe that they will teach all these good things down that family line. So those people are respectful. They are like model citizens in a sense.
There was once I was taking a auto rickshaw, and then there's this family who was just outside distributing the lassi drinks, you know, to anybody because it was a hot day.
Yeah.
They're just doing that. And it's free. You know, so then I said this is a good way to start the day. Because it's a small act of kindness. You know, that people can just do like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I also left my phone twice in the auto rickshaw. Right? And I mean, both times I got the phone back.
Yep.
The guy actually came back all the way back to where he dropped me to pass me back the phone.
Yep.
Without asking for anything. So I of course I gave him something you know, for his effort. So I mean, these are the small acts of kindness that will happen right? And Mumbai itself, I think some people think, is it safe? I think generally it's quite safe, right? Because it's made up of a lot of migrants all over India come there and work, right? And people are all pretty chill out.
Yep.
Right, and of course the people who live and grew up there also are very chill lah. So the culture is different lah, you know. Like if you compare Mumbai to Delhi, so in Delhi then I would say okay, maybe night for a girl, you better have your own car driver to take you around. You know, certain places don't go, but Mumbai itself in general actually is quite safe.
So you can like come home at like 2-3 a.m. safely.
Yeah, I mean when I go out and I see the local girls after the drinking, they just one person take the auto rickshaw and go back lor. Yeah, so I mean probably in the right areas lah, right? I'm not saying that the whole, you know, of course I don't know, but in general I didn't feel that it's not safe in Mumbai itself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I mean in Indo, like my parents would never allow me to go out past like 10, and then like they also don't allow me to like ride motorbike that kind.
That's
because I
in
think it's
Jakarta, is it?
no, I live in this like smaller city called Malang.
Okay, Malang.
But I think everywhere generally it's like less safe, but I think now it's like getting better. That's why when I went to Singapore, then my mom called me at like 11 p.m. It's like, why are you not home yet? Then I was like, mother, here is very safe. Like it's okay. Yeah. But Singapore, I think like, I mean, even like in other countries, they have like the cultural difference is still quite big, but Singapore there's like a lot of different cultures coming together. I think the whole like racial harmony and everything, like when I came here I was like, wow, like it's like everybody from different parts of the world is like coming here together and like showing off their culture and all that stuff. Like, even for HDB you have like a certain
quota,
right?
Yeah,
I
good
thought
thing.
that was so interesting.
Yeah, it was a good thing.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
It's very stressful though because unfortunately the way our cultures work, right? Some cultures prefer bigger families, and they obviously need the house more lah, right?
Yeah.
But then our racial quota is lopsided to whoever makes the most money. So it's a bit sad. But okay, here's the thing about like the cultural cauldron that we are here in Singapore. I love it when all the good parts come together, but I hate it when all the bad parts come together.
It's
There are
pros
some-
and cons.
Yeah, correct. So there was once I had a friend who was in a brutalist company. I love this so much, right? Because the man, when he was not working, Indian boss, right? Friendliest man. You can come to his house anytime, he'll invite you for a meal. But the MD together with the boss, right, are two of the most type A people that they can possibly become. So imagine the Singapore like type A corporate person with an Indian efficiency person. You work, you just work. There's no stop. There's no berhenti. While you're eating, you need your mouth to type. It's that kind of energy. So I feel like, oof. But sometimes it also occurs to me, right, that we are the problem. Because if they stayed in India and did their own thing, I'm pretty sure they'll be mild and okay. Because most of the people that I meet from India, right, they're not aggressive. They're just very used to big and loud actions because that's where they are. People between people quite fast. Sometimes your action need to be louder, right? That's why you hear like Chinese people, Indian people very loud. In Singapore, you like that shout, everybody else can hear, so you don't need to shout.
Yeah.
Then sometimes, right, what happens when you take the person out of like the Singaporean context, right? then you get to see their true nature. Very interesting one.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that originally right, very relaxed one. This one very cool one. So there was once I was telling him, say, I think the boss a bit stressed. That's why you're getting crunch. I run a Sunday board game. Boy, you just bring the boss over. A boss damn freewheeling. He's damn happy. Then during my birthday, he buy me expansion pack for my games. I'm like, you say your boss like every day want to kill you? No lah. Maybe it's the other. I don't know. So I think it's very interesting that what we assume to be safe, right? Which is why Singapore have choke culture.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you can
true.
put things around, nobody can, right? But in the same vein of things like, it's just not necessary in other countries. It has never dawned on us that people don't mind sharing seats and having conversations with you. Like, that's an open thing. That's why in
Yeah.
Singapore we need to choke because I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Give me
yeah.
my own
It's
seat.
true, it's true, it's
You
true.
know?